So, kanang karon daghang mga components ng kanang road sharing, no? I would like to call on si Executive Director sa Cebu Integrated Transport Office, no? Management, si Attorney Rafi, ang Executive Director. So we will look at kung saan na nato pag-proceed kung sa mga components in pushing for road sharing. Okay?
Technical aspects of our presentation. Let me just start by saying that what I will be talking about will be the technical part of setting up bike lanes. For me, there are two components. It's technical and the social aspect. By far, the hardest job sa setting up bike lanes is the social aspect. Technical is simple. It's putting paint on roads. It's arranging infrastructure. Pero convincing people, telling people about bike lanes, convincing them that this is a good thing, convincing the transport sector to cooperate, convincing private car users to help. That is the more challenging part of the work now. So I hope lang that you will take whatever I say in that context, that ultimately my job is far simpler than, say, Councilor Nida, Councilor Alvin, or Kang Vince, or for everyone in this room. My presentation today is called Bike Lanes for City Streets, How We Can Proceed with Road Sharing. My name is, for those who don't know me, my name is Rafael Christopher Aliap. I'm the CTOM acting department head / executive director when we're still metamorphosing into a department. Qualifications. Do I need to say my qualifications? No more natin nga. Sige, I will just capitalize on my being a lawyer and build on the items that Mamida already mentioned. So we're going to do a little bit of background sa legal area that we're going to be working in. So it's a review of related laws and jurisprudence. The only mention of bicycles in the law governing land transportation in the Philippines is unfortunately just one section. It says in section 51 that hitching to a vehicle that no person on a bicycle, roller skate, or any other similar device shall hold to or hitch onto any moving vehicle, and no driver shall knowingly permit any person to hang onto or ride. So this tells you of the sore lack of national law concerning the management, the treatment of bicycles in the Philippines. So onwards sa local government code, we have a little bit more of background here, no? But unfortunately it's very, very general. So section 17, basic services and facilities, LGUs shall exercise, so on and so forth, such basic services. Infrastructure facilities intended primarily to service the needs, among others, municipal roads and bridges, although included na dire ang national roads also, traffic signals and road signs, and similar facilities. I mention this because this establishes our authority of the LGU, because I don't think there are any representatives from the national government here. And typically, the national government, of the record, doesn't care. So this is an LGU concern, and I think it's better that way. No one can do this better than the LGU can. So, notwithstanding public works, infrastructure, yeah. Okay. This would be of interest to everyone here. There are two Senate bills pending before Congress right now for pertaining to bicycles and bicycle rides. Among them is SB 2688, or an act providing for bicycle rides, creation of a local bikeways office, which was filed on February 10, 2011, last year, by Senator Manny Villar. So, the creation of a bikeways office in every LGU, although it states here that it will be an adjunct to the city or municipal engineering office, so not my job. No, but I think the LBO would typically fall under my jurisdiction. So the responsibilities would be to manage the construction and maintenance of a bikeway network, including the identification of a roadmap, establish safe and strategic parking facilities, road signages and maps, including the planting of trees, to encourage partnership with local and foreign organizations, to conduct education, to cause all bicycles to be registered, and to maintain a bicycle registry. Bicycle park. Every city or municipality shall, through the local bike office, shall create a bicycle park wherein provisions for bicycles are present. Not limited to bikeways, parking areas, similar infrastructure. These are the support services that are necessary for a bicycle network to be sustainable and effective. Another interesting Senate bill would be that of by Senator Pia Cayetano, Senate Bill 2936, also on 2011, although fairly recent vintage of 2011. This is important to me because this establishes a sustainable transport action plan. It's not just bicycles, it's a comprehensive transport plan for the Philippines, not just the city. Taking into context public transport, cycling, walking, and other transport infrastructure. I'm sure Sir Yumi will be talking more of the pedestrianization movement, but this establishes a sort of legal framework by which any bicycle program can be established. Designation of bike lanes. This is the same. Senate bill. Again, DPWH. So this is this Senate bill is pretty nice because it establishes a time frame, 6 months. So those who have legal background can compel DPWH to follow this national law. So again, emphasizing on support services of bicycles, so bicycle parking spaces and bike racks. Further is the Cebu City Council Resolution 12-006-2011. This pertains to the letter submitted by Attorney Oposa right after or simultaneous with the road revolution last year. So the City Council Resolution endorsed this request for road sharing to the City Traffic Operations Management being the proper entity to evaluate the foregoing concern and making appropriate action or actions there. This is still on my table. This is still being done. It's not going to be easy, and you'll understand that, sir.
Just some technical questions. Can we get a copy of your presentation?
Certainly. No
Thank
problem.
you.
Okay. Notable examples of bike lane implementations by LGUs in the Philippines. We have, of course, Marikina City, which is a 52-kilometer bike network of bike lanes built in 2003 through a 1.3 million World Bank grant. I don't know what the current value of that is back in 2003, but at least it establishes the background of the expense that might be entailed by this by developing a bike lane. The good news is that it's a grant. It's a grant, meaning it's not a loan. Meaning, any establishment of bike lanes in the Philippines will not, through a World Bank loan or other loans by international organizations, will not be so painful on the people in terms of taxes and so on and so forth. There is another one in San Francisco, Camotes. I haven't visited this, and there's no, I have no information on this. Maybe sa sharing later on, those who have seen it can do a little sharing. Okay, so that really tells you that in terms of guidelines for Cebu City, for any LGU or even for the Philippines, we don't have a roadmap to follow when developing a bike lane or bike lanes for an LGU, or even for that matter sa Philippines. The only one that we have is Marikina, to my knowledge, Marikina, and that is a study by the World Bank. So we had to look a little further for information on how we were supposed to start. So as Vince mentioned, the classmate me in an online seminar conducted by the University of California, Berkeley. It was a webinar on the bike lane implementation and planning. So the first most important siguro piece of info that we got from that seminar is a guideline. Just by way of background, the bicycle transportation account is a specific amount of money, I think it's $7.3 million, available annually to all states for projects pertaining to bike lanes. You want to do a bike lane, you have $7.3 million in the bank ready, just prove your case. And these are the requirements. So number one, among the requirements to avail of the money is you have to have an estimated number of existing bicycle commuters and the estimated increase. That's data collection. A map and a description of number two. Existing and proposed land use. This is pretty much on way. It's to my knowledge that the City Planning and Development Office is currently ongoing a renewal or an update of the comprehensive land use plan. This is a very important piece of this is a very important document and something that will, of course, contribute to guiding us in the development of bike lanes. Existing and proposed bikeways. This one is easy. The existing, waman. So, zero tana. Proposed, of course, will be subject to the planning and discussion. Existing and proposed end-of-trip bicycle parking facilities. Again, it isn't stressed enough that you can't just have bike lanes without the corresponding support facilities. Parking facilities at transit stops, rail and transit terminals, ferry docks, landings, park and ride lots. This item just goes to show that it has to be an integrated transport plan. So it has to, you can't make bike lanes alone. You have to have an idea of it to mesh with the overall transport plan of an area, an LGU or the Philippines. This one's a little small, I apologize for that. Existing and proposed locker, restroom, shower facilities. So again, on the support services. A description of bicycle safety education programs and by the law enforcement agency having primary traffic law enforcement responsibility in the area to enforce provisions of the vehicle code pertaining to bicycle operations. Again, like I said at the very beginning of my presentation, technical is easy. This is the hard part. Number 8, same description of extent of citizen and community involvement. Number 9, description of how the bicycle transportation plan has been coordinated, is consistent with other local and regional transportation, air quality, and energy conservation plan. So whatever we do has to be consistent with the rest of, it should be in the context of a framework. I don't think this is very difficult. Generally, the bike lane proposal is one that is consistent with environment. Siguro sa transport, but again, what is to be of our transport is entirely up to us. So, in the discussions to go ahead, to go on after this meeting, I hope that taking into consideration lang the context of Cebu City, you will hopefully mesh the idea of bike lanes within the entire concept. A description of the projects proposed in the plan, and a listing of their priorities for implementation. So this is more the implementation of what needs to be done, how much does it cost, which is number 11. Okay, in a nutshell, what do we need? We need money. We need money, we need brains, and we need support. I think 1 is easy to look for. Number 3 is available. I think we have pretty much almost everybody who needs to be involved in this endeavor. But number 3, again, the hard part. This is a simple diagram that we learned in a course by the University of the Philippines National Transportation Academy. Just by way of guiding this discussion. So you always start your planning, your in this case planning for bicycle lanes with data collection and analysis. Then you follow it with the forecasting. Then plan formulation. This one's a relatively complicated diagram because my opinion is that this should come first. What do you want to achieve? How do you want to achieve it? And how long? How long do you want? How much time are you willing to devote on this? So once you have your plan, you test it. You give options. You give options to people. I think this is the most important portion of the discussion. It has to be socially acceptable. It has to be evaluated by the primary users and also those who will benefit and will not be benefited from it. So you go around. Generally, you work this out in a cycle until you come up with a final plan and evaluation, and then you go to implementation. So we put together the two, the Caltrans PTA funds requirements with that diagram, and so we kind of come up with this sort of kind of mesh na how to move forward. So data collection and analysis. So if you recall, the first requirement sa PTA was you have to have an estimated number of bicycle commuters and an estimated increase. In 2009 and 2011, our planning section sa CITOM conducted a bicycle count at the following intersections. CIT, Skywalk, Imus, Skywalk, Mabolo, Country Mall, The Hope, Macopa, Robinsons, P. Rodriguez, CNU, Virama, and Katipunan. So I'm going to take over a little bit. What we found is pretty interesting. In 2009, okay. Sorry if it's a little small. We can zoom it, but let me just guide the discussion. We have here the biggest volume of passengers, or of cyclists rather, is usually between 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. And it's always from the outskirts going inwards. So if you can see, there is a, can you scroll up? Sa CIT Skywalk, you have 118 cyclists from 7 to 7:30, 7:30 to 8, 112. Imus, Osmeña Boulevard. So, yeah. Going inwards, it's just a city. 116, 159. Mabolo Church from Hipodromo to Mandaue, 108 to 118. Wakay, there is a Country Mall, Lahog, Skywalk, Macopa. What does this tell you? For one, I think sa atong mga policymakers, this tells you of the number of constituents ninyo who are cycling and who would stand to benefit from such a development. Second, it will tell you ideally where you can start off in developing a bike lane. So this data, again, anyone is free to request this. We also submitted this sa atong comprehensive land use plan sa city planning, so they can take into context eventual meshing of whatever proposal for bike lanes will be done in Cebu City. I think, yeah, sa 5 to 5:30, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m., it's reverse. So essentially, it's pretty much the same number of people, no? going in, coming out. Sige. Okay. So going on by the requirements of PTA funds, this is a mixed amount of data collection and analysis, forecasting and plan formulation. So we, as I said earlier, the need for the comprehensive land use plan NATO is a great tool in helping us decide what we want in how we want to put our bike lanes. Among others, the data that would be very useful in helping decide would be congestion data on proposed locations, because this will help justify your creation of bike lane. Whether I'm not saying you can't do it in a congested area, you can do it in a congested area. It's useful information to have when you want to convince people that having bike lanes in this area is good for them. Also, collision analysis. We want to know what causes accidents sa atong mga cyclists. So, we can take this information into consideration on how we plan our bike lanes. Do we want segregated bike lanes? Is physically segregated bike lanes necessary? Is paint enough? Do we need bicycle boulevards? Do we need improvement on certain intersections to reduce accidents? Again, information that's very useful. Existing and proposed bikeways, this is data collection and analysis also. This naturally flows from your estimated number of cyclists and land use. Parking facilities, again, support facilities. This can be addressed by way of legislation or by simple social pressure. If, for example, I'm a call center and IT park, and I have, of my 1,000 employees, 300 to 400 employees who bike to work. Of course, to keep them happy, I would want facilities, parking facilities, shower facilities, a way for them to utilize existing transport nodes, like, shall we say, if BRT is online, how to ride on with BRT, or how to, if natay pagi na mapasakay sa taxi or jeepney, and so on and so forth. So existing proper and proposed locker and shower room facilities. A description, yeah, we already talked about this now. Description of the extent of citizen and community involvement. Okay, that was a mesh. So that's just a very, very general idea. Let's be specific now. Typical bike plan steps. For phase 1, you have to introduce the project to an audience. Similar to this one, I suppose. Although, I think the ideal would be to talk to each and every barangay whom you are going to introduce the bike lanes to. I think the barangay is a very powerful subunit of local governance. You have immediate access to the people who are affected. So, you identify your users, opportunities, and constraints. Who are the users? And I don't think it's just our cyclists, no. It's also our commuters, it's also private car users, and perhaps even businesses that will be affected. Where are they going? This pertains more to kaning sa atong cyclists. We want to know where our cyclists are going, generally, so that we can provide safe bike lanes for everyone. And how do we do it? So we have of course, opportunities and constraints. Roadways, paint, is it paint? Easements, do you need to widen? Do you need to acquire a certain property so that you can push through, taking shortcuts, new developments or infrastructure? Again, questions that you want to be able to push forward sa imong first introduction to everyone. So, probably in a meeting like this, you introduce a study and participants, you describe the scope and the process, you ask for input. This is more important, this is the most important. You ask for input and you listen. Because generally, again, like I said, the technical is easy. It's the social acceptability that's difficult. Once you mesh these together, you have generally no problem with pushing forward with any proposed transport plan. So provide comment forms and summarize the next steps. Then you go on to develop your network. This is where the brains start to take into account all the info that has been put forward and putting it into something coherent. So you choose your streets. Then you go to those streets and then you look at it. Kung sa'y problema na kung naisa kung ubutang tag-bike lane, what kind of bike lane will you use? What are the probable accidents, probable issues? Will it cause more traffic? Will it cause accidents? So on and so forth. So again, continuous gapon ng data gathering. You get the daily speeds, you get the number of vehicles passing through that area, and bicycle volumes. So your next meeting, again to sa mga stakeholders, you present your recommendation. You take into account the input that was given in the first meeting. You take into account the data that you gathered. You put something up together and then you present these recommendations. These are the streets that, based on where you guys are going, these are the streets na based on what's on the ground, what's available, mo na itong buhaton. And then you describe a process of prioritization, listen and be willing to change. Of course, support programs again. Phase 3, pulling it all together. So, you've had your inputs, you've had criticisms, you've had your advice, then start bringing it together now. Prioritization criteria is important for our policymakers. You want to give them options. Okay, let's do this plan first. Let's do, in the case of the proposed plan, let's do North Reclamation Area to Honolulu first, so on and so forth. Then finally, you have your draft plan with a recommended network, list of prioritized projects, high priority projects, and total network cost, which you present to the policymakers for implementation. Okay, I have an extra 5 minutes. So, for our policymakers here, sorry, I wasn't able to acknowledge the presence of our congressman from the North. So, we have choices. It's good public policy to provide choices. I think the editorial sa Freeman was pretty harsh. For those of you
Out of touch.
yeah, it was pretty out of touch, and I think it's necessary to remind ourselves why supporting bike lanes is good public policy. So it's good public policy to provide choices. Choices. C, congestion. Bike lanes don't add congestion. Bike lanes, in fact, could reduce congestion because once people realize that it's safer to bike, they may not even take their private cars anymore. So a bike is far smaller than a car. You can imagine how much road space is being saved if you can convince people to utilize bike lanes. Health, of course, the health benefits of bike lanes, of cycling cannot be overstated. It's for many of the jobs available these days, as you can see, is for sedentary lifestyle, results in sedentary lifestyle. So this one's a little random. Others, age. I don't know yet of the denominations sa itong mga cyclists, no. But in America, quite a few senior citizens bike. So that's something that you want to take into consideration. Also, kids who cannot drive or cannot be or who have no access to public transportation, they can bike to school, they can bike to wherever they want, and it's good public policy to make it available for them. These are again constituents of our political leadership. Capability and cost. I mean, it's not cheap to buy a car. As you even commuters will find it expensive to commute every day. When it becomes a substantial amount of your monthly budget, then you realize that if there is an alternate expense available, then you can do it. Impacts, well, you have environmental impacts. Of course, air quality is one. Noise quality is another that's not being explored very much. And also wastewater quality. So costs. Again, this is in terms of individual and societal costs. Individually, can you afford to day in, day out pay for gasoline with the rising costs of gasoline, maintenance, insurance, if simba ko lang aksidente, costs for support, so on and so forth. Efficiency. It's not available in this, but generally biking is more efficient than cycling. Biking is much more efficient than walking. Biking is also, given the correct set of circumstances, biking is more efficient than taking private transportation and also public transportation in case congested, in case the roads are congested. And finally, safety. Of course, you have constituents who want to bike and they want to do it safely. So again, choices is the reason why you want to give bike lanes. It's good public policy. The next extra that I wanted to give is the bus rapid transit. The area that was mentioned did not traverse on the BRT lane, which is good because the BRT in the pre-feasibility study, we have a representative from ITP here. Maybe she can talk about it later. That development of the BRT corridor should also seek to encourage cycling. So this is something that is already ongoing, and I think it's pretty close to completion already. When the development of the BRT corridor will finish. So just as an idea, this is the BRT route as is being planned now, from Bulacau all the way to Osmeña Boulevard, all the way to Capitol, all the way to Ayala, and then Talamban. These are proposed future extensions. So just imagine along these routes you have available bike lanes. If the feasibility study will find it suitable for BRT. Okay, just as an idea, what we can do sa technical once we already have a plan. Again, like I mentioned, bike lane, sa bike lane implementation, we can do paint, signs, infrastructure. I think this is a pretty good segregated lane. Actually, I had a preliminary idea for bike lanes. I think na-share na po nila Vince. But the center island of the Imus New Road all the way to Fidel Rosario is actually pretty suitable for something like this. It's wide, it's tree-lined, you can use it for cycling. Infrastructure, you can put bikeway bridges. This is something that has not yet been fully explored, but it's just to open your mind that it need not work with current infrastructure if you want to develop bike lanes. You can take shortcuts, build bridges for one, or transform an intersection into a roundabout so that you can make people, you can have cyclists utilize to for safety reasons. So, and it's exactly 30 minutes. Thank you.
Daghang salamat, no? So, di pa inagod kayo niyang lain-lain yung mga, so we're not just talking about bike lanes as an infrastructure solely for mga bikers, no? But it's, mabitani when we reacted, no? We reacted katong nagpag, na isa ka editorial nga nigawas nga ang bikers ko na diri sa Cebu is purely for kanang recreation lang, no? Nga kung pwede atulan dito sa bukid, and they don't know nga na ay growing a community using their bike. Oh, bike to work, no? Daghan kayo, so at least na-identify na nato sa mga components. Maayo kaya ni sa tanan. Maayo pa dani because we have a representative from the transport sector, no? Para yes. So, ang atong councilor, anyway. Okay, thank you kay councilor. And kanang nakay representative gikan sa kanang transport sector, at least ibalo sila, no? Kaya basin sila imitabo sa itong mga bikes, kanang jeepney stop sa guban pa. So there's a kanang comprehensive nga tan-awon nato para anin sa bike lanes. But at the same time, pwede po tayo maghimo ng immediate nga infrastructure for katong initial na ganing for weekend pa lang to ang gi-propose ni Ma'am Ida, no, gikan sa JY. So dako kayo na siya nga kanang bike community pod ang nagamit anang area.